welcome to the latest News Just News video roundup. Adam, to quote the song, it's just the two of us.
I know, it's exciting.
Oh, well, I'm already missing Lucia, but I'm sure you'll get me over that. But she'll be back in future weeks. But for now, it's me and Adam. We're here. We're going to do a bit of a wrap of some of the stories that have kind of piqued our interest on News Just News this week. There's loads of stories on the website, aren't there, Adam?
There's so many. I can't even read them all. I just see them come through and it's like, oh, wow.
It's such a diverse range of topics as well. We've got sport, we've got entertainment, we've got lifestyle, we've got quirky stuff, really good political analysis, lots of stuff about Donald Trump, the US, real global brands. So do head to the website newsjustnews.com to check out all the stories, because we really on this video just pick a selection of them that we kind of want to have a chat about and get under the skin of and analyze. So I think we're going to kick off with one that caught both of our eye, Adam, when we were talking about what we're going to chat about, and that's Starbucks kind of selling a share of their Chinese operations. What do we know about that?
Yeah, well, I've actually kind of been following this story for a while, because obviously I did Chinese at university, so I've sort of seen this come through on like the financial news and stuff. But basically, China has sold off, I think, I don't know what it was before, but they've sold off their shares to Boyu Capital. They're only retaining, I think, 40% control in Starbucks in China. And yeah, I think that's just a sign, because I've seen like the coffee wars basically and all of the price wars in China. And I think, yeah, this is just a sign that Starbucks, at least the American, the HQ, have said they're just pulling out. They can't do it. Hand it over to China.
Definitely. I mean, they're huge over there. I've seen they've got like 8,000 Starbucks in China. I mean, it's second only to America, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the second biggest market, and in a way, they were very emblematic of obviously the reform and opening up the 80s, Chinese, letting in all the foreign companies. China was obviously for thousands of years a tea culture. Starbucks comes in and turns them into lovely coffee drinking consumers as well. And so this is actually, this is big considering all of these Chinese brands that have come up now. The American brands just can't really compete in the Chinese market anymore.
Yeah, it's Luckin Coffee as well, wasn't it? The one that was founded in 2017. They've been the one that have really come up and stolen some of sort of like Starbucks kind of like real estate, I guess, haven't they?
Yeah, so they've absolutely massively dropped the prices. I think Starbucks for a while has been charging, I think, 30 yuan. So that's like, I don't know how many dollars that is, but that's, average Western prices really. And then Luckin Coffee, they've made it so basically every chain in China, they can't charge more than 10 yuan. So that's a really steep drop. And as well, they have all of these crazy limited time flavors just because the competition's that intense. They'll do like chili coffee, crazy matcha flavors as well. That's a big thing, just to drive people through the door. And that's just not what Starbucks is as a company. And yeah, so they've said no more.
And they've got 26,000 locations in China, Luckin Coffee.
Yeah, they're growing. They're actually in the US as well. I think I think just a month or two ago, opened their first store in the US. So maybe we'll have to see like what, if they come over to the UK as well, maybe we'll have to go grab a look in.
You've said as well they're kind of like the Gen Z. They're kind of like they're the brand that the Gen Z have jumped on, aren't you? Like Starbucks has got that history, it has got that prestige. They were, really, at the lead of the kind of like, getting the world hooked on coffee. So, but the younger generation like their discounts, like the different flavors, don't they?
Yeah, so I think young people are always looking for something like very TikTok friendly, very Instagrammable. They're looking for those crazy drinks, and they're also looking for a bargain. The cost of living crisis has hit young people especially hard, and I don't really go out for coffee. Really, it's it's too expensive. Why am I going to pay £5 for a coffee? So yes, I think Starbucks is struggling over here as well, and in the US a little bit. So Yeah, like,
They need to warm their coffee up. I don't go to Starbucks.
do you think it's too hot?
It's not. No, it's not
Oh,
hot enough. They need to warm it up. It just goes cold too quickly for me. So I genuinely can't remember the last time I ordered a Starbucks. So I quite like finding as well. I'm based in Leeds, and there's a lot of like smaller kind of independent coffee shops coming in now. 200 is a good brand as well. I just want to make sure there are, more coffee shops out there, not just Starbucks. We love you all. Send us free coffees if you want. But yeah, I'm a massive coffee consumer. And it's kind of taken over the world, hasn't it? It's just become this huge sort of thing, and it's a real social event as well, isn't it?
yeah, you always go with, it's just a quick, easy thing to do. Let's go for coffee. I think especially when I was in uni, that was always the done thing. You'd go out for like a study date, have a coffee. I think it's, we talk about third spaces. It's that area that isn't work but isn't your house, and that's definitely what in the 21st century coffee shops are. But they do have to, they do have to change to keep up. They've got to get that niche, and I think Starbucks, we've seen it with McDonald's and a lot of other fast food places. They've just kept on raising and raising and raising the prices without really giving much else, and consumers are pushing back on that.
Yeah, it's funny when we just talk about the rise of coffee. We went to Brighton in the summer, and I've always loved going to Brighton and walking around the lanes, and it's just full of coffee shops now. There used to be loads of really good artisan shops and bars, and it's literally around every corner it's a coffee shop. So it's a huge thing, and fair play to Starbucks, kind of like holding their hand up and going, right, let's sell some of this. I mean, the big numbers that they're talking about as well, aren't they? We're talking about what's the sale been for $4 billion US?
Yeah, 4 billion. I mean, those are big numbers. I mean, but you hear it a lot in the finance world, so it's like to sort of go on my head sometimes. But yeah, I mean, as you were saying with all of the coffee shops, it's just the changing world. I know, just brick and mortar stores, good stores, just don't really, they're becoming less and less. And obviously on the high streets, it's just charity shops and coffee shops and restaurants. And I think there is a lot of pushback from people who are like, not another coffee shop. But I don't know. It's nice to choose which one, because they'll all have like their different vibe. You might get like a little cozy one, or like a super modern one with like fast internet and stuff if you want to go study. So I think it's definitely sort of opening up new places for people to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we're going to wrap up with coffee there, and talking of big numbers, we're going to talk about another big number, 1.2 billion, and that's how much it costs to build the Grand Egyptian Museum. Tell me what you know about that.
Yeah, so I mean, this has been decades in the making. I think it was planned in 1992, and then it didn't even start building until 2005. And then they've gone through all of these, the Arab Spring, and then COVID, and then obviously the Israel-Gaza war. So there's been a lot of things that have affected this, but finally it's open. They had a massive, lavish inauguration ceremony. It looked really cool. It was like pharaoh drones in the sky and like fireworks, and obviously like everyone was there as well. So it looks really cool, and it's positioned right in front of the pyramids of Giza. So you're in the museum and you've got a fantastic view of the pyramids as well.
It sounds amazing. Yeah, apparently there's 100,000 artifacts there. So it's kind of just I guess it's going to be, they're looking to try and get cult status of the sort of Natural History Museum. Next thing we know, we'll have a film based in it, won't we?
Yeah, the night at the Grand Egyptian Museum.
And that's quite a nice segue, actually, to a piece that Lucia, who isn't with us today, but has written a nice piece about the fourth instalment of the Mummy series. Now, before we get into this, where are you at with the Mummy series? Have you seen any of the films?
I think I've seen the first two, because I definitely remember, the scary when he's getting put into the sarcophagus and all the scarabs are on him. I hated that scene. I saw that when I was younger, and it's one of them scenes that, like, even though it's not a horror movie, it just sticks with you, I think, as a kid. So yeah, I didn't even know I mean, there's been quite a few films out now. I didn't even know how much Sony has really tried to keep this series going. I know there was a few prequels as well, and
yeah, the first one came out in 1999, and it's Brendan Gleeson and Rachel Weisz that were the original lineup, and they're the ones that are being talked about that are going to come into this fourth series. But you are right; they had that balance. So they had that right balance. That was very sort of Raiders of the Lost Ark. It had a very sort of similar vibe to it, whereas it was kind of light entertainment and there was fun and adventure, but it was also quite scary. Like some of the scenes in it were like pretty grim. So I think that's why it was a huge box office success. Did over 400 million US dollars, and the second one did really well as well. The third one, not so much, because they tried to reboot it with Tom Cruise and went very much down the horror movie angle. There was no fun in that one. I've not seen that one. I think I saw half an hour of it and I was like, this isn't a mummy film. But they are going to reboot it, and Brendan Fraser has come out and said that it will have that element of being a thrill ride, but have a bit more fun to it as well.
Yeah, and that's what you need. I think if they are going to reboot it, you do want that magic of the first film, which I think, yeah, if they're going to have Brendan Fraser and
Rachel Weisz,
yeah. But if they're going to have the two original stars of it, then that and go into that thrill rather than the horror, then hopefully it's a recipe for success.
I think I will look. I'm a massive film fan, always have been, always will be. Love all the classics. My son is 17, but he's watched them all. And reboots have a slight issue with. I kind of, come on, Hollywood, come up with some original ideas. It can't be that hard. It's just too risky, I think. They're too risk averse. They kind of think, well, that worked then, let's do it again. But I mean, really, like, when you're watching the Indiana Jones now and you're seeing Harrison Ford knock out 6'7" Eastern Europeans as like in his late 70s, what am I watching? It just, sometimes the magic can't be replicated. What are your views on reboot? Should be holding Hollywood to account and say just be more creative?
I do think we should sometimes. Clearly the Tom Cruise reboot didn't do well, and because they did go in a different direction, so they are trying to play it safe, going back to what's original. But there is a lot. It's not really that long of a time to 20 years considering from the first one. So and this is just I do think it is a big problem in Hollywood as well. All of the Disney movies that barely came out in the 90s, they're redoing, and it's like but then again, obviously all of the new stuff they've done hasn't particularly done well either. So yeah,
it's interesting.
It's really hard to say.
It's interesting as well because a lot of reboots are done with CGI now, and obviously the technology has advanced so much. However, for me, one of the best reboots that's been done in recent years is the Top Gun movie, which had barely any CGI in it. They put their actors through the ringer. They're there. You can see them struggling. I think we as an audience, a bit like you're saying, like, I want a good coffee. I want really good coffee. I don't just want the sort of like the commercial kind of like coffee that you're charging me more, but there's no extra quality. I'm definitely coming round to that as a movie consumer. I've almost like CGI'd out. I kind of am more interested in storylines, good acting, good plots. It's an interesting time that we're coming into because with AI and the rise of AI, it's just going to get worse and worse. Like the amount that we rely on CGI, isn't it?
Yeah, and then it's just when movies that is driven by the plot, but then they use too much AI. I mean, obviously, or CGI even, because obviously Avatar, that is a spectacle, and obviously they have to use CGI for that, and almost that is the movie. That is why you're there to watch it. But then things, I do remember the second Mummy, I think that was panned back in the day, and I did watch a video of it and I was like, this is bad. This is bad CGI. This is like a bad video game.
Yeah.
So then if you don't, if it's a movie about the plot, if that's what you're there for, then I think but the audiences do want a good mix of practical effects and a little bit of CGI. But then I do think, I wonder when we are going to have like the first AI movie, like fully AI, because I've started to be tricked by it, just even
Definitely.
on YouTube.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, that's brilliant. I think we're going to wrap it up for the week there, because that seems like a really good end to a good note to end on. So thanks for joining me, Adam. It's been brilliant to chat to you as always. And hit that subscribe button. Go and check out all the website stories. There's tons on there. And we will see you again next week for more of the same. See you later.
See you, everyone.